Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Jeff Hathorn in a matter of moments over to 93.7 The Fan Cam. There he is. Hey, Jeff, I got a great idea. I just saw that graphic. You can make $20 an hour. Yeah, think about it. I'm going to be doing live shots all night on Saturday up there at Orchard Park. I could start shoveling at 10, do my live shot, continue to do it all night because I got to be back on the air at 6:30 in the morning. So I can make a little, I could have a side gig up there, making a little extra money while I'm doing all my work here for TV, and I would just be right there in the middle of everything and have a better understanding of what kind of weather we're dealing with.
Richie, some people might say that we shovel every day. So we're prepared for it.
That's crazy. I don't know if I'm prepared for this, though. Jeff, there's a part of me that's anxious and excited to go there, but there's a part of me that's like nervous and scared. We're headed up to Buffalo tomorrow. We'll be there for this, and right now we're seeing all kind of models. I know I talked to Ray. I have him I've been texting him every minute about this weather. It looks like Orchard Park could be ground zero for 3 feet of snow, or it could miss it and get a few inches. It's like it all depends on what happens of this lake effect snow. I mean, I guess we might not know until like moments before the game.
Yeah, and somehow the sports predictions will be worse than the weather ones. Somehow. I'm kind of, if you were at the Ice Bowl with Green Bay and Dallas, or you were at that Bengals-Chargers game in '82 where it was like negative 59 wind chill, like those are memorable games that you could say, I was there. I'm kind of hoping, as long as we can both get there, that this will be one of those memorable games, and maybe it'll be a memorable game, too, because the Steelers find a way to win.
Yeah, and, Jeff, I think the worse the weather is, the better chance the Steelers have. I mean, do you agree with that statement? Look, I don't want to see anyone get in trouble getting to the game or from the game. No dangerous situations for fans. But I'm saying if it's bad conditions for the Steelers and there's 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts like Ray's predicting, and you potentially are getting a foot or 2 feet of snow out there, I think that plays into the Steelers' hands right now.
It might, although, Josh Allen can run the ball, and he could probably throw it better through the wind than Mason Rudolph if needed. And, James Cook has had a really good year for them. And actually, Buffalo's had more rushing yardage over the span of the season than the Steelers have. It's just that the Steelers hot. Najee's hot. He's had 2 straight 100-yard games. I like that type of running back. But, I think Allen is a guy who can make plays in bad weather. He's from Wyoming. Like, he knows how to play in bad weather. I don't think that really bothers him. So I don't know how much of an advantage it is. I think what advantage would be is if Allen tries to make too many plays, and the Steelers can take advantage of that.
He also knows how to throw interceptions, Jeff.
Right.
And I think ball security will be a big deal in this game. Plus, hey, they're missing a couple guys right now. I know the Steelers have the biggest loss without T.J. Watt, but no Gabe Davis. A couple of their defensive guys in the secondary could be out. Dane Jackson could be starting this game.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as you love the Pitt guy, I would rather have him out there than the regular starter. I know Rasul Douglas is questionable, and they've got a safety already out. It still doesn't tip the scales in favor of Buffalo as far as the significance of injury lost. But I do think there is an opportunity in this game to be able to move the ball a little bit. We'll see what these weather conditions are like. I mean, who knows? What you don't want to be doing is relying on a field goal. If the Steelers are going to get an opportunity or two, especially with special teams, something's going to happen, a wild wind-blown punt but they have to punch it in the end zone because settling for field goals is not going to be a guarantee, even as good as Chris Boswell's been in this weather.
Before we go to the break, and I don't know if it's just me, and I don't know if you feel like this, but we've been in the locker room all week. We've been in the locker room all year. But right now, I have a good feeling. I don't know if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid over there, but the team looks loose, seems loose, fun, joking around, something you didn't see 4 weeks ago. This team truly believes that they can win this game.
Well, and in reality, you'd hope you wouldn't have seen that, because if they would have been, joking around and laughing after, 3 straight losses, including those to 2-win teams, then you would have really wondered where this team's head is at. I'm with you. I feel that enthusiasm. It's kind of like the start of the season. They're starting over. They've had to fight to get into the postseason. So has Buffalo. They won their last 5 and had to win their last game to get into the division. Now, they knew they were getting in, but there was a chance going into the final game where they may not have gotten into the postseason. So I think both teams are battle-tested, but I just don't think this Buffalo team is invincible. Like maybe 2 years ago going up there would have really scared me, but I think there are some holes in this team if the Steelers can control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with your phone calls, 412-575-2600, coming up next. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our GMC tweet of the night. This from the Steelers on this day in 1975. We brought home our first Lombardi. You know what, Jeff, could they get number 7? If they win this game, you go to Baltimore. I think they can beat Baltimore. And then my prediction is Cleveland wins against Houston, then beats Kansas City, and then you have Pittsburgh at Cleveland for the AFC Championship game. Call me crazy.
Wow. You're crazy. But I love it. I love it, Richie. By the way, it shows you how the NFL has changed, that on this date, before the playoffs start in 2024, the Super Bowl was already finished back in 1975. That's kind of crazy. But, yeah, I think they could win this game. I remember, as you do too, the run back in 2005. Started in Cincinnati. Then another drivable game to Indianapolis. Then they had to go to Denver.
Yeah.
But the first couple were kind of like, hey, this is cool, and you saw Steeler fans travel.
Yeah, and they won an unwinnable, everyone thought, game at Indianapolis because they did something different at the beginning of the game. And so we'll see what happens here in Buffalo. But, I actually think this could be their toughest game if they can get past Buffalo, which, the odds are against them right now. But, all right, we'll see. I'm saying Pittsburgh at Cleveland, AFC Championship. Let's go to Steve in Johnstown. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Good, thanks for calling.
Thanks for taking my call. I'm just going to talk about this streaming services taking over the NFL. You have this game coming up on this weekend, Kansas City. You have to have Peacock to get it. And then, like, for the Amazon Prime on the NFL Network, you used to get the Thursday night games. Now, all of a sudden, you can't get them anymore because Amazon Prime got these games. You're going to have like 5 or 6 of these streaming services. That's all you're going to be paying for just to get these games. What's your opinion on that?
Steve, thanks for your call. And look, that is a really good question. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I don't know how to feel about that because I do have Amazon Prime, so I can get it. I don't have Peacock, actually. But if the Steelers were in that game, we would have seen it locally. So you can see those games locally. But if you're an NFL fan and you want to watch the postseason, you can't, right? Unless you need to pay for these streaming services, which means that you're going to have to cut cable, too, and do all these streams. I think we're trending in that direction where eventually we're just going to see a lot more streaming and less people having cable.
I think all the games should be on KDKA, first of all.
100%.
Pomp and Charlie should do all of them. So that's the first thing. Secondly, wouldn't it be nice if there was a service where all these channels were put into one convenient area where you could just buy a package?
Like cable?
Oh, wait, we used to have that. And now that wasn't good enough. And all these other streaming services, there's one way to keep all these streaming services from wanting the NFL. Don't watch it. The problem is we all want to watch it. So he'll probably end up getting Peacock. You'll end up getting, Amazon Prime just because you want to watch these games. Yeah,
but I think what you're doing is you're keeping it away from a certain demographic right now. The older people, they don't have these services, right, around here in Pittsburgh. A lot of people around here are relying on cable. I still have cable. I don't know if you do or not, but I was worried about this with the Pirates. This kind of brings me back to what was going on with the Pirates before they signed that deal with Pittsburgh Sports or Net Pittsburgh or whatever it's called nowadays.
Well, at least it's not pay-per-view yet, where you have to pay for every game like a boxing match. Who knows? That might be what comes next.
Yeah, it could be. Could very well be with the NFL. You pay per game. Yeah, I know that Major League Baseball, there were talk of them doing that kind of stuff, but who's going to pay for Pirates games if they're going to lose 100 games? That would be a tough ask for them right now. Let's go to David in Finleyville. How you doing, David?
Good. Thanks for taking my call. I want yours and Jeff's prediction on the game this Sunday. Scores, please.
Oh, okay, Jeff. I'm going to give it away. I mean, it's Friday, and Craig McConnell, our executive producer, asked for our predictions, and me, Bob, Charlie, Jerry, we all give our predictions every week. And I'll give away my prediction. I picked the Bills to win 20-13. But, you know, I did that yesterday. But I'm starting to get the vibe, the feeling. I want to change the pick. I want to change the pick right now here. Yeah, I do think the Steelers can win this game if they set the tone early, if it's a sloppy game and it plays into their hands, if the weather, the worse the weather, like I said before, helps the Steelers, and if they can get the ball first, jump out to a lead and run the ball, and then get Buffalo on their heels, I think the Steelers can win this game. I really do.
You know, 16-6 was the score of that Super Bowl back in the day. I'm going to go with 16-6 Buffalo, though. I just think Buffalo is – I just think they're too good, and I don't know that this weather really helps the Steelers that much. I really don't know if it's going to play into their hands. I think it may play more into the Bills' hands, and it's going to be tough to score up there.
Well, it is their home city, so they're used to this weather more than the Steelers are. And this is a Bills team, like you said before, is hot, won 5 straight, 6 of their last 7, and is playing like that Bills team that everyone thought they would be at the beginning of the year. I mean, if you would have said the Steelers and Bills in the playoffs the first round, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year, I would have said no chance because you thought the Bills were one of the Super Bowl favorites.
Well, and look where both these teams were in early December. Buffalo had to win out to win their division, and they have all these expectations. The Steelers were 7-4, and everything looked great for, hey, maybe they're still competing for the division, and then they lose those 3 in a row and then claw back to get back in it. So, you know, both these teams have had to overcome some adversity. Combined, they've won 8 straight. So these are 2 teams with the arrows pointing up. Let's see whose arrow is pointing up at the end of the game.
Jack, Mount Lebanon, how you doing, Jack?
Fine. How's everything, gentlemen?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, you know, it's greed. These owners want more money and more money. That's why I believe, you know, you got to buy this package, buy that package. I'm 72 years old. I don't know what streaming is. I got cable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's my concern. And I mean, look, the NFL does more research, and these leagues do more research than we do. I'm just taking a guess here on what it's like in Pittsburgh, and you know what my grandmother does, and what you know, my uncles and people that I know that don't have streaming. So you know, you know, I'm leaning towards getting rid of cable too and going streaming. At some point, I think we're all going to be forced to make a decision like that.
I don't want to think about all that stuff. I want to think about the line of scrimmage and the Steelers winning the game, but I get why people are upset.
Yeah, hey, look, let's go back to the game a little bit. How do the Steelers win this game? I mean, because the biggest X factor for me, for the Steelers, is in playing. And you have a irreplaceable, how do you replace an irreplaceable guy like TJ Watt? And I would have a better feeling, a realistic feeling, that the Steelers could win this game if TJ Watt was playing.
Well, the one statistic that the Steelers dominate the Bills in is turnover margin. Steelers are a +11. The Bills are just a +2. They need to get a couple of those turnovers, even without TJ in there. And then with the defensive back package, now with everybody healthy in that secondary, run some packages out there where Josh Allen goes back, and he's got to think for that half second. And then with that extra half second, Highsmith, Herbig, Golden, Hayward, somebody's got to get to him. You know, try to confuse him a little bit. Make a couple of plays. That's how I think, you know, beyond them winning the line of scrimmage, that's how the Steelers win this game.
So the Steelers are 1-10 without Watt in the lineup. Not great stat right there. But they never had a guy like...
their depth is better.
That's what I was getting to. They never had a guy like Golden or Herbig. And I think a combination of both of those guys maybe can make up for, you know what, 75%, 80% of a Watt for one game.
That's all. Hey, they just need to make a couple of plays and hold their own to where, you know, they're not running plays their way or getting them out of position. And both those guys have played in cold weather. I mean, Herbig went to Wisconsin. Golden's played in Kansas City. So these guys know about bad weather games. I'm not worried about that aspect either. And I mean, I like the way the defense is trending. Some of those guys are playing their tails off, playing through injuries, especially Landon Roberts. He joked the other day, he said, I'm playing through a bruise and a bump and maybe another bruise and a bump. I mean, this guy, like, all-time guts out for the Steelers, because if they didn't have him, they'd be in real trouble.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites in the locker room, no doubt about that. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask you about Mason Rudolph. We also got to check in with Ken Rice. Back in a couple minutes. And you have a prediction real quick?
Steelers 21-17.
Okay, I love it. Ken Rice picking the Steelers. Jeff, what did you think about that one? You picked the Bills, I picked the Bills, he's picking the Steelers.
He's got everything.
Yeah. Before we go here, we don't have a lot of time.
You can trust Ken Rice.
You can. And I would believe Ken Rice over me and you any day of the week. Mason Rudolph, I'm rooting for this guy. I don't want his story to end. I don't want his season to end.
Yeah, what I love about him is he did everything the right way. You know, he didn't shortcut. Even when he was a third stringer, he went into work, had a good attitude. I think it's a great lesson for everybody that if you keep working, eventually good things will happen. And yeah, I love this run for him. I don't know how long it's going to last. This could be the last one, but if it is, kudos to him for handling it the right way.
Is there anything that you've seen that would make you think it's going to end?
Well, this season, I mean, playing the Buffalo Bills is what would do it. And, you know, as for next year, it's now in his court, and he's going to get some offers this time. And if you're Mason Rudolph, you might want to explore some other opportunities. It hasn't been the easiest ride here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be talking about that same subject next week after a Steelers win over the Bills. All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. I really appreciate it. I'll see you up in Buffalo, and hopefully I see you over on KDK News in just a couple minutes.